This is fucking good. You know what? This episode, I'm gonna drop the fucking like performance mask. Oh my god, I'm fucking sick. This sucks. Hello, thank you for joining me. I am Andrew Tyree, your host, and this is the next episode of something. As far as topics go for this video, we're going to be going over the subject of giving. Usually that would lead into me like saying that there's some stupid fucking Patreon below, or subscribe to my YouTube membership, or subscribe to my OnlyFans. But there's nothing like that that's going to be coming up because I don't need any of that. I mean, unless you want to see feet pics from me, and then we can figure something else out regarding that. With what we got going on, we have the new camera set up, we have lighting. Voila! I watched quite a bit of videos trying to set all this up correctly, so hopefully this looks as good as it does in this teeny tiny little monitor that I have in front of me. I'm trying to see if we can go ahead and get things rolling for the publishing company here in February. So I'm trying to start the channel off with this segment that I'm going to call Valentine's Day Special. But back to the original topic that we're going to talk about today. Giving. Giving itself comes in a lot of forms. It can either be tangible, like you bought them a brand new car that you can't afford, but you're giving it to them anyway. Or it can be intangible, like love or compassion or appreciation. Either way, it's all a gift. And so if you're joining me today, I would like for you to think about the last time that you gave someone something. For me, the last gift that I truly feel like I gave something to someone was to my parents. And it was over Christmas, which, you know, fucking mind-blowing that I gave a fucking gift to my parents over fucking Christmas, right? But the gift itself, it came in a tangible form. It came in the form of a card. It was a greeting card that I had spent more time than necessary trying to find just the perfect motif for it. In this greeting card, it was a dedication to my parents, which is something that I hadn't really expressed to them before up until now. Let me tell you a story. When I was 18, I was young, dumb, stupid, and with that being said, I would do a lot of reckless things in order to fulfill my dumb sense of life purpose at the time, which was to experience anything and everything. Nearing the end of my last semester, I had went on a date with this woman that at the end of the night, I could not drive. And because I had ridden with her, I didn't have a ride home. And I didn't have any friends because I felt pretty much alone at this point because of how much of an asshole I had been to everybody else around me. And so there was only one real person left that I felt like I could call and not be judged for it. And I like to call this the nuclear option. I called my mom. She didn't ask me any questions. She just asked me where I was and then came and got me. And then with my dad, regardless of a lot of his absence while I was growing up, I've been able to call him whenever I've needed. If I didn't know how to change my oil, I'd call him. If I was worried about how I would get a car loan, I'd call him. If I needed a friend, I would call my dad. Because they're always going to be your parents, but the older that you get, the more you start to recognize them as just being people. And they become your friends. Or at least they can. And me, myself, I recognize how fortunate and blessed I am to have the support system. But back to this card. I've always been shitty about writing greeting cards. I've always been shitty about receiving gifts. I'm terrible about saying thank you. I'm terrible about returning the favor. And I recognize this about myself, but an old dog can't learn new tricks, even though I fucking recognize that it makes me an asshole. But I wrote this card for my parents because they deserve to know that they're great parents. Okay, so I just stopped the recording so I could like double check some shit about how I had this set up. Now that I'm actually looking back at a little bit of the playback footage, holy shit, this is fucking good. God damn. But, holy shit, I did all that in a fucking week. This is fucking great. Cool. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Cool. Okay. What do we do next? What the fuck was I talking about? Some shit. I can't believe how good this shit looks. Oh yeah, we were talking about giving. I've given you the gift of fucking art. There you go. You're welcome. So, you know what? This episode, I'm gonna drop the fucking, like, performance mask and I'll just fucking talk like how I normally do, or at least this is how the fuck I think when I think inside of my head. It's fucking cold outside. I've had to retry doing all of this shit so many fucking times because of the snow, because of the fucking wind, and because of just the sheer cold of how fucking cold it is outside, draining the fucking batteries on these cameras in like 2 seconds. And I only got 2 fucking batteries. So, you know, you get what you can get. Because I don't know how to set some of this shit up, like almost all the footage that I captured when it was late at night is just completely fucking unusable. Well, because the fucking camera is like doing this shit, trying to focus on me because, look, it just did it now, I think. Well, I guess that's not really meaningful content, like I said this is gonna have. But, you know, I've captured your attention anyway. Hopefully this doesn't come at a loss of subscribers. This is me peer pressuring you into staying or subscribing. You're weak if you don't subscribe. Take it from me. This is the new alpha male channel. You know, let's just go ahead and exploit every dumbass thing that exists in the YouTube meta from like 5 years ago. If you eat raw meat, your balls will swell 5 times in size. If you drink Lysol, it will... Never mind, I can't say that. Fuck, I'll actually get in trouble on YouTube. I don't know, buy my supplements. If you could go back to just a single day in your life, what would that be? I'll share another story about my past life. Here in Colorado, there's kind of a unspoken rule, as shitty as it sounds. You don't tell tourists where the fucking best places are. So I'm not going to tell you the name of where the fuck I went. But if I could go back to a single day, it would probably be March 25th of 2023. I'd say that day was one of the last few good memories that I have where I felt safe in a moment. Imagine you are with the person that you love more than anything in this absolute world, more than life itself. And you have just the beginnings of your family starting to make its roots. There is snow all around you, and you can feel the chill of the air breezing past your skin. Because it's so cold, there isn't anything in the air to smell. The only thing that you smell is just snow. Yet you're surrounded by all of these evergreen trees and pine needles, wondering why it doesn't smell like a candle. You wake up in the morning, and you don't check the alarm on your phone. You don't even check the time because it doesn't matter. And you look to your right, and you see the most beautiful sight that you've ever witnessed. And you see the woman that you love lying with this new member that has joined your family. And despite him being a dog, you come to think of him as your son. And you manage to snug on your boots, and you walk outside. You spend 15 minutes trying to light a fire with charcoal because you're terrible at it. You pull the cast iron out that you forgot to wash the night before, so now it's just completely covered in bacon grease and everything else that you cooked with it yesterday. And as it heats up, you look back in the cabin, and you see those two still lying in bed in this tiny little cabin out in the middle of the woods. And there's not a sound in the air, not even the wind. That would be the day that I would go back to. For the longest, I didn't even remotely try to process any of these emotions to include the nostalgia of it. It was a nice memory. And it's one that I can always put myself back in, which is one of the greatest gifts that anyone has ever given to me. So when you take inventory and you think about what it is that you have that you can give to another person, never think that the thing that you have to give is money. Never think that the thing that you have to give is this tangible thing. Because sometimes the best gifts that we can ever receive you can never hold. I encourage you that if you are in a relationship right now and you are deeply committed to this other person, you see the rest of your life with them. There's a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And if you don't know what a love language is, it's things that can occur that make people experience feelings of love. And typically those things are reflected back in the way that they express love. You have touch, quality time, acts of service, gift giving, and words of affirmation. Regardless of how much you may feel that you love your partner, it does not matter if your partner does not feel that themselves from you. At least I'm back to playing the fucking game, baby! Yeah! This fucking sucks! Oh, I fucking hate it. This is so fucking weird, man. You know, they have that saying where it's you have these 3 loves in your life. The first one, I don't know, you're dumb and stupid in it. The second one, you learn something from it. And then the third one is the keeper. That's totally not how this fucking saying goes, but it's my saying now. I feel like I found the third one at the second one, and then it just turned out to be shit. So I don't know. I don't know. I fucking hate using Tinder, but realistically know how you are expected to meet anybody else in this fucking modern world outside of that app when you hit my old age of 27. But to just feel love, it's a fucking hell of a drug. Yeah, I feel like this is the most directionless episode that I've fucking done. There's like 0 point to this shit. Oh man, I'm gonna upload it anyway just because, you know, fuck it. Yeah, I have been your host, Andrew Tyree. I'm still feeling pretty fucking sick. The camera's about to die. Cool. Have a good one with wherever you are and whatever time it is for you and your GPS coordinates. I have a P.O. box now, so if you have any short stories, particularly literary fiction or creative nonfiction, or poetry, you can send that here at this link that is not in front of me right now, but it will be after I edit it. I also have a website, which is going to appear here. And then that website is going to take you to another website to submit digital files of your work. I'm currently accepting short stories and literary fiction, short stories and creative nonfiction, and poetry. The word count for short stories, it can't be longer than 8,000 words. For poetry, if it's longer than 8,000 words for poetry, you have a problem. With your work, if you have it, please center it around love as a theme. If you got visual art, that would be cool too. There's also a submission bracket for that, but you would need to email me separately. And I know that this goes against pretty much every single play in the YouTube playbook about not doxing yourself, but I'm me, I don't care. And if you follow me home from my P.O. box to where I'm currently staying, we're either gonna fuck